Welcome to another episode of Professional Builders Secrets. In this episode, I interview Rick Storlie from Builder Lead Converter. We dig into how builders can use project photos to create engaging videos that will help them convert leads into customers. Even if you've never created a video before or don't know where to start, new technology is enabling builders to create beautiful, stunning videos from project photos. And Rick shares exactly how that all works in this episode. So enjoy. This episode of Professional Builders Secrets is brought to you by Apparatus Contractor Services. Apparatus provides full scope, end to end QuickBooks precision construction accounting and CFO services for residential builders. If you feel like you can't completely trust your weekly and monthly financial reports, or you feel like you're flying blind, Apparatus will rebuild and operate your QuickBooks accounting system and give you precision construction accounting capability you can trust. Learn more at apparatusteam.com or on the APB Rewards partner directory.
What these people are buying is what's called a hoped for lifestyle. What a builder needs, of course, is an emotional attachment. Without an emotional attachment, the lead comes to the builder and they say, well, how much project can I get for how little money? So absent of having a model home or even like a retail showroom, a physical location, what happens is the first encounter with a builder is online. And that's where videos can really create that emotional connection. You can attract new opportunities, you can capture leads, and then you can convert captured leads into clients. Your website is a virtual model home. If a lead sees it, they believe you can do it. If they don't see it, they question it. Show them that you understand their situation and then give them a clear call to action. So that's really power of video, is to really showcase the results, which of course is you delivering that hoped for lifestyle.
Welcome to Professional Builders Secrets, the podcast for building company owners wanting to grow safely and securely. I'm your host, Will Blunt, and today I'm joined by Rick Storlie from Builder Lead Converter. Rick, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate it. Looking forward to having a discussion.
Yeah, great to have you on. You've been on Professional Builders Secrets previously, and then I've met you at IBS, and you've been a part of the APB community for a long time now. So it's great to have you on, especially with some of the cool work you've got planned coming up, which we can dive into on this episode. But do you want to start by giving those that haven't heard of you a bit of a background of who you are and what your company does?
Yeah, absolutely. My background is in construction. And I tell people, I said, well, I started as a framer in 1988. And then I have to catch myself, Will. I said, well, technically, I was a job site laborer. So literally, I started picking up garbage on a construction site. I worked my way up into a salesperson for home building, then went into sales management, and finally ended up as general manager for a custom home builder. And about 20 years ago, I started offering builders fractional sales and marketing management, and was still doing some sales training as well. And I really became obsessed with studying the relationship between marketing and sales. I wanted to answer that question. I was like, well, so why do some leads go to contract and others go to a competitor? So in 2020, we launched Builder Lead Converter. And the focus there was on helping builders acquire clients by building them a system that uses multiple pipelines to deliver, enough leads so they can pick and choose their clients and jobs, or they can backlog their production. And then in 2025, we launched Builder Lead Videos. And that's so builders can showcase the quality of their work through professional commercial grade videos, and really walk somebody through from a project photo to having like this commercial quality, professional video.
Yeah, nice. Tight. You got a tight elevator pitch there. What your background is. I want to talk to you more about Builder Lead videos, and obviously, let's talk about the video concept in general. But if we take a step back, your experience in construction and now moving into sales and marketing services, what problem is it that core problem that builders are facing, which you're trying to help them with?
Well, let me answer the question with a question. What do you feel? And don't worry, I'm not going to grade you if you don't get this right. But what do you feel new home and remodeling buyers are actually buying when they sign a contract with a builder?
They're buying. Oh, I believe they're buying the feeling or the dream experience at the end.
Yeah, you know what? It's a pretty good answer, Will. Because a lot of guys would say, well, they're buying, 400 square foot kitchen with this type of cabinetry and countertops, that sort of thing. And what I learned early on is that I realized that what these people are buying is what's called a hoped for lifestyle. So if you get into psychographics, there's different types of psychographic groups as far as your target markets or avatars, and the certain types of psychographics tend to buy custom homes and they remodel homes, do high end design, build, remodeling. But it's always a hope for lifestyle. So, in other words, there's something wrong with their current living situation and they want to fix it. So, the very best tool any builder has to demonstrate a new lifestyle is simply to walk the prospective client through a completed project or showroom. And that's really where I got started. So I started in a model home, and we did parade of homes, and we walked people through the model, and they would fall in love with the kitchen or the bathroom, or they liked the overall architectural motif of the plan, which of course would lead to a contract. What a builder needs, of course, is an emotional attachment.
Mm.
And that's the challenge, is that without an emotional attachment, the lead comes to the builder and they say, well, how much project can I get for how little money, right? Everyone wants has champagne taste for a beer budget. And what we want to move them to is, wow, Will, I love what you do. What's the next step to me in getting this incredible home and renovation so I can start enjoying it? So, in
Mm.
other words, how soon you want to start living and enjoying your home. So, absent of having a model home or even like a retail showroom, a physical location, what happens is the first encounter with a builder is online. So, there, I'm doing some sort of a search. Maybe I see an ad, a direct website visit, maybe it's social media. And that's where videos can really create that emotional connection, because the video now allows the builder to demonstrate a hope for lifestyle. And that leads an opportunity to becoming a lead and then ultimately a client.
Yeah, I love that. I think the other part, which you're not talking so much about, is the relationship with the builder as well, that video can help bridge in
Yeah,
terms
that's
of that
it's a good
the
point.
trust,
It's
the trust that it can build compared to, just not knowing who they are.
It's a good point, because what we say, videos can be used in really three different capacities. You can attract new opportunities, you can capture leads, and then you can convert captured leads into
Mm.
clients. And so you have to understand where the lead is, and the type of video you're going to show is based on that. So, as an example, a video you might create to just attract an opportunity to introduce yourself or create awareness is going to be much different than the video you're going to use to convert a captured lead into, say, a phone appointment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So I think what you're saying under the surface there is the beautiful looking finished home is the thing that draws people in, and then you're using more personalized videos of the actual business owner and that kind of stuff to convert them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's right. Because everyone starts out with, they really have two questions. So again, it's how much project can I get for how little money? Everyone wants the most for a lease. So what happens is that when a lead is actually looking for a builder online and they don't have any relationship established yet, they're trying to answer really two, if not three questions. So one is, what can I build, or how can I remodel my home? It's design related. I can't visualize my new home or my remodeled space. The second question, of course, is, once they find something I like, is how much? And then the third question typically revolves around location. Will you come to my neighborhood, or I'm looking for land in such and such an area? Do you build or offer, land offerings in that area? And so, again, understanding that when a lead is online, it's just meeting their expectations of what they're looking for. Again, people shop by process of elimination. So
Mm.
the goal of your website is just to avoid being eliminated. So as one of our clients told me, he got a lead, and the lead told him, I looked at 30 different websites. You look like yours has had the most, together. And so I ended up, becoming a relationship with you. It's like, okay, they're not going to call 30 builders. They're not going to, they might look at 30 different builders' websites, but they're only going to talk to maybe one, two, or three. So you just want to start with, just avoid being eliminated. And so you just give them what they're after, and then give them an offer they can't refuse. And some of these are ready to talk right away. Others may not talk for years.
I love that. That's actually a great way of framing it. I've not thought of before. You really just it's true in any marketing. You're trying not to be eliminated because, as
Mm-hmm.
you said, everyone's doing a bit of research and shopping online, and the smallest discrepancy between something they see and their perception can just make them go, "Nah, move on to the next one."
just give me a reason, Will.
Mm.
Next, right? And because they're trying to create a short list, so you just don't want to give them any reason to eliminate you and give them every reason to want to include you, which really comes to that first encounter, which is typically online.
Yeah, my second question was about the role you see video playing in how builders connect with new clients today and attract new clients. And I think you've touched on that a little bit, but is there anything else you wanted to elaborate on?
Again, if you look at it this way, if you have a say $1 million, $2 million show home or model home, and you walk somebody into it, you're putting your very best foot forward. You're giving that potential client every reason in the world to create an emotional attachment for you. And there's always an emotional attachment, Will. I mean, I sat in years working model homes. And the beautiful thing about that, my experience with model homes, is that like a website today, you can sort of watch how your leads interact with the website. Well, in a model home, you get to set back in real time and you get to watch how the lead interacts with the model home. And so you maybe have heard of the term, well, your website is a virtual model home, a virtual showroom if you're a remodeler. That's really exactly what it is. And so you watch how that lead interacts. I got to be able to do that, and you could set traps, so sales traps, if you will. So one trap might be, here's information on local land offerings, here's more floor plans or design ideas. You would stage a model home, and again, to display this hope for lifestyle. And somebody would come in and they would fall in love with how the girls room was decorated, or they loved the man cave, in the basement, or the large garage. All of that was designed to create that emotional attachment and create a reason to start a conversation. So that's what we're doing here, starting a conversation. So what video allows you to do is to put your very best foot forward to create a reason to start a conversation. So the video, again, what we're doing is, instead of just saying, having them visual look at your website or your social media, so I'm using one of the senses. Now what I'm doing is I have auditory, because I have a narration. I've got music in the background, which can really almost go to tone of voice. I've got body language, because I'm putting people utilizing your spaces in the video. And then I've got movement. And that movement keeps me engaged. And unfortunately, we're in a Twitter generation, or maybe we'll call it TikTok generation right now, where people don't have a very long attention span. So that one static project photo, you can bring to life, you can evoke all the senses, and you can, again, build that emotional attachment of where that lead wants to take the next step with you. And that might be just visiting your website to learn more about you, or it might be actually being captured, opting in as a lead, or it might be, again, converting to that phone appointment to actually talk about my project.
The examples you gave there, it makes me think that the builders, before they even get to the point of creating video, they need to have a very good understanding of their ideal customer. Like you mentioned, the man cave, for example, that's only going to have an emotional connection with a certain type of buyer, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you APB, right? One of the things you do when you first start with a new client is build your avatar. Who is your target market? So obviously, understanding that target market with video is very important too, because now we can actually create the exact demographic and really psychographic profile, and we can put them in that video.
Mm.
Because when a lead is looking at that video, what they're trying to answer the question is like, can you solve my problem? I don't like this home. I want to remodel it, but I have a big trust issue. I don't want to get burned by a builder. I don't want to pay too much. I don't want to miss out on some design opportunities. So in other words, they have a fear of really going through the project and then not getting it done right. And if you're building a custom home, obviously it's like, I have no idea what I can build. I have this idea of what I want, which is usually that hope for lifestyle, but I need somebody to help translate that idea and to create a design to be able to I should say, build it within my budget, and then have the process go seamlessly. So getting to the end of the project and going like, oh my gosh, I made a huge mistake. I picked the wrong builder.
Yeah, the smallest detail can actually scare people off as well, which you may not recognize. I've seen it happen so many times with just, one word on a website. And if someone says that's not me, then that can make them go, this is not the right builder for me. And I'm sure the same thing happens with the video in
Yep.
video.
Yeah. As an example, when we work with custom builders, I always ask them, I say, hey, what is your most visited page on your website, outside of your homepage? And nobody realizes it, but for a custom builder building no spec homes, no model homes, design, build, the most visited page outside of their homepage is an available homes page. Now, an available homes page needs to have specific content on it. And really, what we want to show is we want to show 3 examples of an entry level home, more of a mid range home, and a high end home. Now, the reason that leads go there first is because they're trying to understand in context how much home I can get for the money, right? That's their first question. How much can I get for how little money? And so, if let's just say the builder builds home between $1 and $4 million. So if my budget is $800,000, that's top end, and I see, well, my entry level home is $1 million with this builder, you're politely telling them, I wish we could help you, but we can't hit that price point. You may want to go someplace else. But if their budget, let's say, is 1.2 million and all they see is $2 million homes and up on that website, they're immediately going to think you're too expensive for me. I'm going to go look for a cheaper builder, quote unquote cheaper builder. And conversely, if you just see $1 million homes and their budget is 2 or more, they're going to think like, hey, you don't know how to build up a home of my caliber. I'm going to go look for a different builder. So that available home section is really where people typically start. And again, they're trying to understand the context. What do I get for 1 million? What do I get for 2? What do I get for 3? And then you can obviously start introducing your architectural motifs. And it leads to the next step, which is let's look at floor plans. And again, most custom builders have no floor plans on their website. Third most reviewed page for every custom builder is because, again, your leads don't have context. They don't know what they can build. So they need to see examples or ideas from you because you need to be a relevant source of information in their local market. And the more relevant information you can give them, the higher degree they hold you. And that's part of the trust building and value building. And of course, videos they just work with you while the lead's going through this process.
Yeah, I'm sure we could talk about all the components of a website for a lot longer, but let's get back to videos. I'm a builder and I think it sounds overwhelming. It sounds like creating video content. I'm going to have to put out like a whole bunch of time in my calendar. It's going to cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't even know what to put in the video. So, talk to me about that. Is it easier to do than what the perception is?
Yeah. So historically, what are the challenges to producing video? In other words, why don't more builders do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So cost, number one, time, maybe accessing client projects. So again, I need to get back into somebody's home and I need to shoot the video. Is it staged correctly? Did they clean before you do it? Is the lighting right? Editing challenges, maybe finding a good local videographer and especially one that knows the industry. And the list can go on and on. So there are so many challenges right now to doing it, which is why most builders just don't do it. And of course, there's always the camera shy builder too. It's like, I really don't want to get behind a camera. I'm not that guy. So it's like, that's fine. So what most builders do have though, Will, is that they do have a good local photographer and they're already taking professional pictures of their best projects. So the type of video we're doing right now is called, we have a new AI tool. It's called motion animation. And you've seen this out there. There's some really bad AI videos that I'm sure you've seen on social media. I mean, like really bad. But if you have the right editors and you know what you're doing and you have a good story to tell, you can start with just a photo. Like I say, just take a project photo of a kitchen that you did as an example. And you can make it feel like you're walking through the room. And then you can add furniture and accessories, and you can add actually your target market demographic enjoying the space. So, again, this one picture of an empty kitchen now can showcase all of your work and starts to create that emotional attachment to where the lead says, that's really awesome. Can you do that for me too? And then you can give them a clear call to action in the video about what's the next step for them to take.
Without getting ahead of ourselves, I'm keen to see this because you've got a couple of examples. You're going to share your screen and show me a couple because I don't believe it until I see it.
Of course, right? Believe it and see it. So let me share my screen, and we're just going to start and just show you an example of like starting with like a still photo, and then what you can do with it. Okay, so you're gonna see several examples here, and I'll show you this about different things you can do. So we're gonna start out with just a picture that one of our clients brought to us, and show you how we created the video out of it. So there's one example right there.
So in
And
that example, was that 3 project photos? and then you just added motion, added the avatar in there.
Yeah, so we're adding motion and then we're adding people into it as well. And I'm going to show you one other example here. This picture you'll see now in this particular video, you're going to see the actual photo that we started with. It's in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And then, so the photo we started with is right down here. And so this is just using the motion animation. These people, that's all AI created. And the movement, actually, it looks like somebody's, videoing these people as they're walking through the kitchen. That's all done with the AI. So there's that lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, for those listening on audio, I apologize because that would have been a little bit of on hold music that you were just listening to.
Yeah, you're am I in an elevator or what? But
Yeah.
I'm going to show you one more example here, Will. And this is so some builders they're going to build let's say they want to put together a to be built package and they want to market this home, like try to pre-sell this home. So they might create like a 1D colored rendering, exterior rendering. So this
Yeah.
next video will show you what you can do with that with motion animation. So as you can see, I apologize to all those photographers out there on drone videos because yeah, you really
Yeah.
don't need to
Just for
fly a
those
drone
listening,
around
yeah.
anymore.
For
This is
those on
really
audio, basically what you've done there is there's just a flat photo of a house and
Mhm.
you've turned it into what looks like a drone going around the house to show the rest of the house. Question for you. Is that drawing on multiple photos? Like, for example, is it drawing on a photo of the side of the house, or is the AI actually generating what that looks like so it's not real?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, the AI generates all that. It's a one-dimensional image. So we start with one picture, we have one aspect of the home, and then AI does the rest. So again, and I can show you a couple other examples here too. But you can actually put people then, like playing in the yard, as an example. As you do this, and make it as it looks like a commercial quality video that you would see, on any professionally produced television program.
Yeah, I must say the people you used in the first couple of videos you showed highly realistic. To the average person watching that on social media, they're not going to it's not going to jump out to them thinking this is AI,
Mhm.
especially because they're not talking or any of that kind of stuff, right? Like
Right.
it's
We
just
have some. Well, I'll show
Mm,
you an example of where they are talking. Yeah, so you can see that for an ad that we created for like social paid social, or you can
mm,
use for Google as well. If the video is designed properly, it's going to tell a story. It starts with the problem the lead is trying to solve. And then it introduces solution, which of course is the desired lifestyle. And then you give them a compelling reason to start a relationship with the builder.
mm.
That's the call to action. So the one thing that builder does, Will, is for it's really levels the playing field, because let's just say you're a startup company, you're in less than 5 years of business, and you're just fighting tooth and nail, to grind through that marketplace and and sort of try to make a name for yourself. But yet there's these big behemoths been around forever, and they've got all these different projects. They might have a retail location. They've got all this past customer base out there, and it's like looking at Mount Everest and saying, how am I ever going to climb this?
Mm.
Now, remember, the lead is typically going to encounter that builder for the first time online. So, videos instantly create differentiation for builders when you're in a very crowded marketplace. So, again, you can have videos on your website. Again, use them in your social media. You can use them with your follow up, your conversion campaigns, paid ads, etc. And now all of a sudden, you're telling a story everywhere you go, and you're showing that, hey, you are the go to builder in this area. So, you can really create this perception of this high quality, high value builder, even when you don't have maybe the background and even a lot of the market share that a lot of your main competitors might have.
What's your take on the gray area around AI video versus trust? And I know a lot of builders are very proud of their craftsmanship, right? So, how do you balance those things?
Well, all the photos that we use in the videos are actually of the builders' completed
Mm.
projects. And I guess this whole thing started from I was at the International Builders Show and had just presented a topic, and I was talking to a builder afterwards, and he goes, "Rick, our quality is 10 times superior than most of our competitors in our marketplace, but they market so much better than I do. I never even get a chance." And so the challenge you have is like, yeah, you're this great builder and you do incredible quality. You may be doing incredible projects. We used to say picture tells 1,000 words, or maybe that's you've heard that term. A video tells a million. And so a video again allows you to take that high quality project that typically only your client sees. It brings it to life and it can live online and truly showcase the quality and architectural mastery that
Mm.
you can provide to your clientele. So it really levels the playing field for a lot of small volume, younger or newer builders.
Yeah, and I think that's a very common challenge that a lot of builders face if they don't have a background in business or marketing, being able to help other people understand how good their work actually is a real challenge.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the question we get all the time is I built my business up to this point on, referral and word of mouth. So that's typically 1 to $3 million.
Mm.
And then the builder realizes like I cannot get to the next level unless I invest in marketing. And typically the question is, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we just signed on a client who in the first 9 months of this year spent $75,000 with another agency on paid ads, and they don't have one single job to show for it. 75 grand they spent, which, that breaks my heart. But again, that's not understanding the business, not understanding your clientele, and not delivering that story that really, makes that client say, hey, I want to know more. I think this particular builder understands my situation. They've obviously produced projects for other clients like me. Why wouldn't I take the next step? And of course,
Yeah.
then we can use video to reduce the risk and create a compelling reason to take that next step, which might be just filling out a form, and it might be a conversation, and it might be getting together in their office or for a site visit at their home.
Yeah, the sad thing is that's not the first time I've heard a similar story to that, Rick, in terms of just wasting the
It's
money.
it's
But
horrible.
it's the industry, like there's millions of marketing agencies out there, right? And
Mhm.
they're very good at getting leads from, Facebook, Meta, Google Ads, all that kind of stuff. But if they don't know how to work in the construction industry, they don't understand how to get proper qualified leads that are ready to build because it's very nuanced. It's not just about getting leads into your CRM, it's about everything else that goes around your setup in terms of building trust, nurturing those leads because it's a long sales cycle, right?
Yeah,
And it's very
absolutely.
unique. So you need to work with someone that understands the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about conversions. This particular example, the guy had 180 leads he had to follow up with. 180 leads. And of course, he doesn't have a salesperson. He's the sales guy and he's running jobs. There's just two guys, running the company. And I felt horrible for them because he goes, I called and chased and called and emailed and texted. And every time I would finally get a hold of someone, it was just a crap lead. And, the money's out the door. He said he would have hired another person on his staff if he would have had that money still, and now he has to do the work himself or contract it out at best.
Yeah, I think we're getting we're layering into a different problem there around sales process, qualification, and a whole bunch of other things. But anyway, let's get back to video again. Sorry, you're going to say something?
I was going to say something. I said, but the video kind of leads to that because again, if you're telling the right story, if you're meeting the lead where they're at, you can capture leads, and the video again will just it. I should say this, I should say this, Will, is that if a lead drives by your one of your projects and sees a sign and calls you up and says, "What's your price per square foot for a 2-story home?" Versus if that lead gets referred to you by one of your very best clients, is a completely different conversation. You'd agree with that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're asking about, hey, you did some work for so and so. He said you were awesome. We're thinking about this project. Can you help us out? Where can we get together and talk? And so you move right into it. And the reason is because it's a trust, right? So you have a trusted relationship with your client. That client refers somebody to you. That trust you establish with them is transferred over to that new lead. And so right away, they look at you in a different light versus when they come in cold, they don't know you from any other builder. So they're going to use some sort of a qualifier like price per square foot. because how else do they differentiate a builders? They don't know the right questions to ask. I would say this is that what a video allows you to do is that, again, it allows you to meet them where they're at. And by giving them something before asking anything in return, you can start establishing some trust as you are the go-to local. That's part of the story of a video, is that it allows you, again, to identify the problem, to introduce your solution, give them a clear call to action. And that clear call to action might not be to call you up. It might be to say, hey, we've got something on our website. We want to give you a lead magnet, if you will, or visit our website and check out our photo galleries for inspiration, or our floor plans, that sort of thing. Again, you give first. And that's what the video really allows you to do, is just create this really nice, compelling message to say, I just want to help you out, get you the information you're looking for. I'm not trying to sell you anything. And by simply establishing the relationship where you are an advisor first, the leads will completely change how they look at you, and you can convert a lot of those into appointments. And so you, as a builder, now, if you have more appointments than you can handle, you get to pick and choose your clients and jobs. And that's probably one of the most powerful things a video will do for you.
Talk to me about what makes a good video for a building company.
Okay, so first of all, we mentioned was the storyboard. You have to understand the story. And again, this goes back to a little bit like talk about lead generation. So that example I used, I mean, that marketing agency they hired, who knows, maybe they were doing, specialize in dentists, and they figure, oh, we do dentists, we can do builders too. Right? I can get you lots of leads. But I think understanding the story. So the story is, I'm willing to go out and spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to either remodel my current space or design and build a new home. So it's typically the largest one-off purchase that anybody will ever make in their life, is a custom home or a very high-end remodel. So understanding where they're at, understanding, okay, what information does this lead need to acquire before they will go to the next step? And again, we talked about it already a little bit, but trust is so important, right? That's why your online reviews, getting those repeat business, doing what you say you're going to do. Just how a video will introduce a concept to one of your leads, show them that you understand their situation, and then give them a clear call to action. So that call to action is the case. That's how they get introduced to you, and following through with that. So that's workflow automations and doing what you say you're going to say. Yeah. So what that does is, if they feel like they are treated like the most important person in the world before they ever become a client, you're psychologically, you're setting the stage thinking like, wow, this person, follows up with me, gets me the information I'm looking for. They do it instantaneously. I am willing to take the next step with this person, which is typically a conversation. So as far as what makes a good video, it's meeting the lead where they're at. And again, I mentioned there's 3 types of videos. So you have attracting or creating awareness for your company, actually capturing the lead, and then converting a captured lead into an appointment. So it's understanding that process, which might take 2 weeks or 2 years, and systematically giving the information that they need before they ask for it, but offering it as an advisor, and then waiting for them to say, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's take the next step.
2 weeks would be nice for a custom house.
Oh, it'd be great. Yeah. And once in a while you get lucky with those, right? Where somebody comes in and, within 30 days you're in a design deposit. But yeah, 2 years is probably a little bit more par for the course, if you will. But you just don't know. That's why you got to have different videos based on different parts of the buying process.
Yeah, I guess those high trust situations, like you mentioned, the referral ones are probably more likely to have a shorter sales cycle than one that's just found you on social media or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes if they're ready. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. But ironically, even people get referred to you, they still go to your website first.
Yeah.
Typically, they're on your website before they even call you. So I always have to chuckle at that. Even the referrals start online.
People are
Um,
pessimistic at their core, I think.
yeah, you're probably right. I agree. But as far as, yeah, so there's really 3 categories as far as of videos, and telling that story through the eyes of the client. And one of the things that when we work with builders or partner with builders, I always have to remind them is like, yeah, I know you're proud of your business. I know you're proud of what you've done. I know you're proud of your awards and your process and your team. That's great. There's a time and place of when we will get to that. But in order for us to get to that, we first have to give the lead what they want. So again, they want design inspiration. They want to be blown away by your ideas. They want to see some pricing budgets, just to understand that they're not shooting for the moon, and
Mm.
they don't want to fall flat on their face, for what they want to build. They want to understand, some different location intricacies, and understand that you are a market expert, a local market expert. So that's really what videos are great at, is conveying trust and your expertise, showing again that you can do these projects, because it's all about believability. If a lead sees it, they believe you can do it. If they don't
Mm.
see it, they question it. And that's where you get into trouble, is if they're questioning, are you really the right guy? Do you really know how to build a $2 million custom home? Because if they start doing that, you probably have lost it.
That's a great point. Marketing in any industry, especially this one, isn't about the building company, or it's about the person that is going to make that purchase, right? Like, you need to make it about them and understand what they need at that particular time.
Yep, absolutely. And there'll be a time then when they buy into you and they'll say, "Oh, Will, you guys are awesome. What's the next step?" So now they bought your process. So now you need to talk about your team and your process and your contracts and deliverables, timelines, all that good stuff. But you don't start with that. Start with what's important to them first, and then move to what's important to you.
Mm, perfect. Okay, we've touched on the importance of video and all that kind of stuff, which has been super valuable, Rick. And thanks for sharing some of those project videos that you created from photos. That sounds like
Mhm.
a great way for builders that maybe feel like video in the past has been overwhelming, that they can start to add it into their marketing mix. So what's the best way to start making that happen?
From a video standpoint, I think is understanding again, what do you want the video to do? So what's ultimately the goal of the video? Is it just to get more awareness to your company? Do you want to capture leads using videos, or do you want to convert people you already have in the pipeline into appointments? In other words, get them moving forward. So you start with a goal. And then, like any other good marketing campaign, it's like, who's your target market? Again, what is a call to action? Creating videos and then testing them, as far as what's getting the most play. Are they actually following through? With videos, Will, it's all about, if you have a 30-second video, are they watching 30 seconds?
Mm.
First 8 seconds are the most important, because if they don't like what they see in the first 8 seconds, they're not going to watch the other 22. So it's looking at the analytics of the video, and then ultimately, is it delivering what you want to deliver, which is going to be opportunities or leads or conversions.
Yeah, great. I think my biggest takeaway from all of this as well is there's no point in just creating a video. You know what I mean? Despite how powerful it can be, one great
Mhm.
video, if you don't have the understanding of the strategy as a whole, from marketing through sales through everything that you're doing, it's kind of pointless to create any type of content. Really, it needs to tie into an overarching system.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And again, that's really what I've been sort of obsessed with since day one, is looking at what can I do before I ever have a conversation with a lead to make my job easier to convert that lead into a contract.
Mm,
And so that's really where video comes in, because there's, if you look at value as an equation, it's price, performance divided by quality perception. In other words, the price that you offer to complete the project for has to be equal to or less than your client values what they're getting in return. So I always like to use the analogy of, you're sitting across the table, you have a plan, set of specifications, and you push it into the center of that table, and that buyer has a big pile of cash that matches the number that you have on your contract, and they got to push it towards you. And when they do that, they have to feel like they're getting the better end of the deal. And so that's why the sales cycle takes so long too, because if that trust isn't established, they're not going to push that cash over to you. They're like, whoa, 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 we better get a second quote or another opinion, and that's all based on, just the trust isn't there. They're not quite seeing the value of what you're doing. So that's where, videos really, if you've had a relationship with them, let's say it's for 2 years, and they've been following you on your website and your nurturing campaign and your social media, and they've been seeing these videos, and they see the client reviews, they see the project photos, they see everything that you've done for 2 years, you're going to have a pretty hard time having them walk away from you,
mm,
again, because the value has been built up for so much and so long. So that's really power of video, is to use it everywhere and to really showcase ultimately the results, which of course is you delivering that hoped for lifestyle, right? It's, again, I'm going to go drop 1.5 million on this home, not because I'm really entranced by the Corian countertops or the marble or the type of windows you're using. It's all about that I can actually live out this lifestyle that I've been dreaming about for so long. And you pretty much nailed that on the head, Will. And so kudos to you. Good job for that.
No. Is that how it used to work back in the day, do you think? You just two people would meet in a room with a big pile of cash and just push it over to each other?
Well, I was, when I started in construction, I started in sales. I was my own worst enemy because I knew how to build homes. And so I would feature dump, and so if I got an engineer that, wanted to listen, yeah, maybe I could make a sale. But I learned really quickly, it's like eyes would glaze over and, they would be looking to move on. And so, yeah, you learn to, again, focus on, again, what's really important to them. And that's really what I've learned over the years is like, just you got to hook them with design. You got to set a realistic budget up front that confirms that they're not going to waste their time if they take the next step, and then reduce the risk, give them to go to the next step. And that's usually some sort of a, I know APB is big on guarantees as well, but some sort of a guarantee that, hey, you know what, we're gonna work within this parameters, and so long as the scope of work doesn't change, the budget isn't going to change. And if you do your job right, 90% of those design contracts are moving into a building contract. And you're a builder for life. And you've got these people, they don't look for other builders now. You're their home builder, just like they have an attorney and a doctor and accountant.
Well, Rick, you make it sound a lot simpler than it is, I believe. So for builders that want to get in touch with you and potentially work with Builder Lead Converter to help them execute on their video strategy and this whole marketing ecosystem, which might be foreign to a lot of builders out there, you're an APB rewards partner. So for members, you can jump on there and connect with Rick through Builder Lead Converter's listing on our rewards directory. But other than that, what's the best starting point, Rick?
Yeah, our website, builderleadconverter.com. And if you're interested more in these videos, like seeing for yourself, we do have an option where we'll create a free video for you. So you give us a few project photos, tell us your demographic, pick some music out, and we'll actually roll out a video for you so you can see exactly your homes come to life, for your project photos come to life. It's a very cool part. You can go to builderleadconverter.com or builderleadvideos.com. Either one will get you there.
Cool. That sounds like a great lead magnet.
It
um,
is. Yes, it is. You get
we'll
to
share
see it for
the
yourself.
Yeah, we'll share the links in the show notes to both of those platforms so you can go and check it out and get yourself a free video. Well, Rick,
Awesome.
so thank you so much for coming on. I've loved the chat, and I think there's a lot of value for builders in there, and this is where video is going. So I appreciate you sharing some of that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Will. Appreciate it.
No worries. Also, a big thank you to our listeners wherever you are in the world. If you like the show today, please subscribe to Professional Builders Secrets on your platform of choice. And if you're feeling generous, leave us a review. But until next time, have a great day.